Morning, everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025 meeting of the Lewis and Clark County Commissioners. And we generally start these festivities off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nice to see you. Happy little group here. I will introduce everybody. I am Candace Payne, the chair of this commission. To my immediate left is Tom Rolfe, County Commissioner.
Morning, Chair Payne.
Good morning, Tom. And Brandy Spangler is running all the technical issues for us today. Good morning, Brandy. And Greg McNally. Good morning, Greg. He's our head of our planning department. To my right is Commissioner Andy Hunthausen. Good morning, Andy. And the world famous Nico Hash from the county attorney's office, and his able associate Kevin Shea, also from the county attorney's office. And then standing in for our friend, the CAO, Roger, is Frank Cornwell, who I'm sure is here to keep me from saying something really stupid, kind of like what Roger usually does. Welcome all. And I'm supposed to remind you that we have a sign-in sheet at the front of right on the other side of that little railing there. So if you're be so kind as to leave us with your contact information and your name. And there's an agenda up there if you really want to keep track of where this is all going. And the first thing, it appears that there are no consent action items. Is that correct, Frank? Since you're doing I thought you were going to show up as impersonating Roger, and you'd have on your white shirt and your necktie and maybe have grown a little mustache. Yeah.
Next time I'll bring him.
Okay, next time you stand in, you got to work a little harder. Okay. So we will start off this party with bid opening for the 2025 chip seal as presented by Audra Zacherl.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Audra Zacherl. I'm the Assistant Director of Public Works. This morning, we have a bid opening for the construction of the 2025 chip seal project, which generally consists of chip seal surfacing, fog sealing, and epoxy paint striping on various county roads and in our rural improvement districts. This morning, we have 3 bids to open. This first bid that I will be opening is from Bullock Contracting, LLC, out of Boulder, Montana. Okay, the bid appears to be fully complete. The bid security has been included. The base bid amount for all unit price bid items is $277,351.90. Okay, this second bid that I will be opening is from American Road Maintenance of Tucson, Arizona. Okay, the bid appears to be fully complete. The bid security has been included. The total base bid of all unit price bid items is $416,484.25. Okay, this last bid that I will be opening is from Montana Materials and Construction of Helena, Montana. This bid appears to be fully complete. The bid security has been included. Base bid total of all unit price bid items is $373,050.28. Staff would like to take these bids under advisement and return with a recommendation for award on Tuesday, June 17th.
Thank you, Audra. Any questions from the commission?
Chair Payne, just for explanation purposes, what does it mean to take the bids under advisement? What is the general process that we go through?
Sure. Thank you, Chair Payne, Commissioners. When staff takes the bids under advisement, we take them back to the office. We review them for all the bids that make sure they meet all the bid specs and that the bid security that's been included is fully completed, and a lot of little details that we don't want to be arduous in the commission meeting.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair Payne.
Thank you. That was a nice explanation. Thank you, Audra. Tom, do you have anything?
Nothing else, no.
Is there any public comment? Seeing none? I think we need a motion here.
Chair Payne, I would move that these three bids be sent to staff for analysis and come back, bring us a recommendation on June 17th at one of our regular meetings.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we allow these bids to be sent back to people who really know how to do this, and they can take it under advisement for today and bring us back a recommendation at a future meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. I forgot to say aye. I'm sorry. I'm in favor. Opposed, say no. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Audra. Next. Yes, you are. The next thing on the agenda is Resolution 2025-33, intent to establish the Lewis and Clark County landfill rates beginning July 1st, 2025. And Audra Zacherl will again do the presentation.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Again, for the record, my name is Audra Zacherl, Assistant Director of Public Works. On April 10th, 2025, the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste District Board voted to approve changes to the landfill fees effective July 1st, 2025. There are two changes, and they include decreasing the municipal solid waste tipping fee from $24 to $22 per ton, adding a plus tipping to the $25 per animal fee for dead animals. The resolution of intent to change the fees will be advertised in the Helena Independent Record the next two Saturdays, June 7th and June 14th, and written public comments will be accepted until 4 o'clock on Monday, June 23rd at the Lewis and Clark County Clerk and Recorder's Office. The public hearing has been scheduled for Tuesday, June 24th at 9 a.m. in this room, room 330 of the City County Building, 316 North Park Avenue, Helena. Anyone who would like more information on the rate changes for the landfill may contact me at the Lewis and Clark County Public Works Department, 447-8037. Staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners approve Resolution of Intent 2025-33 to change the landfill rates beginning July 1st and open the comment period. Are there any questions?
I have a question. We don't often see fees going down, and what is the reason that this municipal solid waste tipping fee has actually gone from 24 to 22 per ton? Do you have a reason for that?
Thank you, Chair Payne, Commissioners. We actually have seen our rates at the landfill go down over the years for municipal solid waste, and one of the biggest reasons for that is efficient operations.
Oh, isn't that nice to hear? Andy, did you have a question?
Chair Payne, thank you. Just again, a process thing. So just people understand our process and why we have to pass a resolution and put it in the paper and all those kinds of things. But starting with the scratch gravel board, they look at your recommendations for what kind of revenues we may need for the next year, what fees staff's recommending. They evaluate it first, start there, and then we'll just a quick explanation. So we have it.
Chair Payne, Commissioners, the process really begins with the budget process and looking at what kind of expenditures and revenues we're looking at for the next fiscal year. And from there, we take that budget to the Scratch Gravel Solid Waste District Board for review and recommendation to the Commission. If they recommend the budget to the Commission, then we are looking at typically some new rates for the landfill. This year, of course, it was the municipal solid waste, and the dead animal rate has not changed. We apparently had missed the plus tipping portion on that in the past, so we were just doing a little bit of cleanup. But we do post our rates every year, beginning July 1st. If there are changes, you will find that our rate resolution includes all of our rates for the next year, not just the ones that will be changing. From here, we advertise so the public knows what the rates will be for the next year. And if they have any comment, they can come to the public hearing or they can submit written comments related to the rates. And then the Commission will vote on the public hearing date, which, like I said, is June 24th, whether to make those changes to the rates.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Tom, do you have any comments or questions?
No, well, just a comment, I guess. I'm amazed after having sat from time to time on the scratch gravel board, how efficient the folks are that run it. They do a great job, and when they can see a way to reduce a fee, they do. And I think it's maybe a statement about how hard they work to do a good job for the people of Lewis and Clark County.
Thank you, Tom. Do we have any public comment on this matter? Seeing none, I think we need a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve Resolution 2025-33 as presented by Audra Zacherl.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that this commission should approve the Resolution 2025-33 intent to establish the Lewis and Clark County landfill fee rates beginning July 1st, 2025, as presented by Ms. Zacherl. All in favor, okay. One more comment. Go for it, Andy.
Chair Payne, I just wanted to I repeat what Commissioner Rolfe said in terms of praise for staff and the work that goes into this. We get this at this time, and there is a lot of behind the scenes work that's been represented here in terms of evaluating the system and what we need to bring in revenues to make sure that it all runs properly. So this reduction is great, but it comes with a lot of work. And I also wanted to say thank you to the City of Helena for our partnership. We have a great partnership, and we run the solid waste programming in unison, and it works well for the citizens that we serve. So thank you, Chair Payne.
Any further comment, Tom?
No, none.
Okay.
And I guess just to note that this is a notice of intent. We'll be coming back and making a final
Yep.
decision in a couple of weeks.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution 2025-33 as presented by Audra Zacherl. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Oh, I remember you. Action item 3C, fiscal year 2025 alcohol tax updates is presented by Misty Edwards. Go for it, Misty.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Misty Edwards. I'm in County Finance. This morning, you'll be hearing updates from the agencies that received fiscal year 2025 earmarked alcohol tax funds. These funds are pass-through funds from the Department of Public Health and Human Services and are to be used for the treatment, rehabilitation, and prevention of alcoholism and chemical dependency. The agencies that receive the funds must be approved by the state. In fiscal year 2025, the designation for the funds was as follows: Boyd Andrew Community Services, 30%, Intermountain Community Services, 30%, Florence Crittenton Home and Services, 20%, YWCA, 15%, and Coleman Community Services, 5%. To date, the county has received and distributed $101,080. County Finance anticipates receiving a third quarter payment in the amount of $50,540 and a final and fourth quarter payment of an unknown amount. As part of the application and designation process, agencies are requested to present to the Board of County Commissioners on the use of the funds. And that's what we're here for this morning. And I do see a couple of the agencies in the audience, if you just want to start with Boyd Andrew.
Thank you. Could Boyd Andrew, first of all, I think we better ask if there's any questions from the commission. Andy? Okay, move forward.
Good morning, Chair Payne and Commissioners. I'm Heather Huntoff. I'm the Clinical Director of Addiction Services with Boyd Andrew Community
Would you
Services.
spell your last name, please?
Absolutely. It's HUNDTOFT.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. I've been in this position as the Clinical Director for the past 3 years, and I'm excited to share with you that we've continued to grow in the services we provide the participants of our county. Currently, this past year, we had completed several education and treatment groups. We've provided 2 separate intensive outpatient treatment programs that allowed us to separate our DUI alcohol offenders from our drug offenders, which is best practice. It serves our clients and our community the best. We also provide services to the 3 local treatment courts. We've been a member of the First Judicial Adult Treatment Court since 2011, the First Judicial DUI Drug Court since it began in 2022, and our CEO sits on the board, and we have counselors who also attend the First Judicial Behavior Health Court, and that has been going on since 2023. So with this, members of our counseling staff or myself, we attend the weekly staffings, we provide feedback, write treatment plans, we're part of any emergency meetings and crisis interventions with the team, and we work really closely with our partners on those teams. We also work with a teleservice treatment court for all treatment courts throughout the state. It allows us to provide some education and CD component trainings for just those in rural communities that can't quite get to a place that offer it. So total, we're helping 4 treatment courts. We're also proud sponsors and donators to the Lewis and Clark DUI Task Force. We work closely with the judges, the states and federal probation officers, our public defenders, our DFS, and just other local and state treatment programs. We do this by helping to send and receive referrals
to ensure the early interventions of our clients. In the past year, our staff has also participated in the local mental health block party, the community health fair, and the community leadership summit. Our care manager has also donated some time to our place to provide some groups there. I also sit on the Substance Misuse Coalition board since the inception there. And our CEO is working with the Tenacity Providers Work Group, which is working to expand Medicaid and to help our homeless and at-risk individuals with housing and other needs in our community. Last year, we also increased the individuals that we served. We served 85 clients with approximately 2,600 services in the intensive outpatient chemical dependency program. This would include any groups and individual services they had. Our outpatient program provided 92 participants services. And with that, we did 30 Prime for Life assessments for our county DUI offenders and completed monthly Prime for Life classes to meet those state requirements for DUI offenses. We also have a residential treatment home. We served 37 men in our community where we provided them with 100 hours of programming while they were in our 90-day program. In addition to that, we also provided substance use disorder assessments to 157 county residents, 54 mental health assessments, and also served 110 approximate clients in just educational groups. Going forward in 2025 and 2026 and beyond, any alcohol tax funding awarded to Boyd Andrew Community Services will support our outpatient program, our intensive outpatient program, and our residential treatment programs. This funding allows for the utilization of one of the lowest sliding fee scales in Montana. We do not turn our clients away regardless of their ability to pay. This will also allow us to continue to sit on those boards in our community, the DUI board, the alcohol board, the behavioral health board, through the treatment courts that we have. And it'll also just continue to help us to provide the Prime for Life, the DUI services in our community. We have also reinstated our ability to help with the MIP classes as well. So we thank you for this opportunity to share with you what we're going to be doing with the money and what we've done so far. Can I answer any questions that you have?
Andy, any questions? Thomas, any questions? This is very helpful to understand this a little better. Do you work in other counties other than Lewis and Clark County?
Jefferson County as well.
Okay, but Boyd Andrews is strictly Lewis and Clark County and Jefferson. You don't work in Yellowstone or
No.
Prairie or wherever?
No, we don't go anywhere to those other places. We're offering some groups teleservice for other treatment courts.
Okay.
It's a very small program right now, but we do have that option.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. Then I believe we are moving along to the presentation by Intermountain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I'm Jamie Palagi, for the record, P-A-L-A-G-I. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Intermountain and have been there for just over a year. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself and talk with you about our work. We're so grateful for the county's support and allocation of the alcohol tax funds to Intermountain Children's Services in our commitment to reducing the risk of alcohol use among children, youth, and families. We hold multiple licenses from the state of Montana, and we are nationally accredited. Last year, we served 1,200 individuals in our various programs across the state. Over half of them are in Lewis and Clark County. Our continuum of services include outpatient therapy, school-based and home support services, parenting education, case management, medication management, day treatment, which I'll talk a little more about in a minute, occupational and speech therapy, and then also residential care on our campus south of town in cottages.
Day treatment is a new program for us, or a reestablished program for us, where we're partnering with East Helena Public Schools at this time and talking with some of the other nearby schools, where children who are struggling to make it in a traditional school environment with those supports are actually being bused to our private school on our residential campus, going to school with our kids and getting some mental health support at the same time, and then bused back home. And so it's a really great partnership in trying to help kids make it through their school journey. So at Intermountain, we know that alcohol misuse is almost always connected to individuals experiencing significant emotional distress and or associated with mental health issues. We also know that children who are experiencing emotional distress, trauma, or mental health issues, their likelihood of turning to alcohol and drugs is high. We believe that addressing substance misuse and abuse must be both preventive and treatment oriented at the same time. And so our focus on prevention to reduce substance misuse is integrated in every single thing we do in our work. Children, adolescents, and families we serve often have risk factors associated with related to trauma, instability, and sometimes early exposure to substance use as babies. Clients that are referred and enrolled in our services receive a comprehensive clinical assessment, including determining risk for use of substances. We do diagnostic evaluations, assessment of risk factors and safety needs, develop treatment plans, and then identify additional need for care coordination. And then some of our clients are supported through co-occurring services and may receive further assessment depending on the needs that they present. Of the clients that reported use of substance or alcohol, just under half reported to us that they got in trouble while using them. These issues are addressed through therapeutic support in any of our service areas, including outpatient, school-based, day treatment, and residential treatment. We also offer parenting education and support through our family empowerment program and our positive parenting program. Our approach focuses on strengthening protective factors such as family cohesion, emotional regulation, and community connectedness, as well as supporting individuals and families in working through whatever challenges they face. Community connectedness relies on us having really strong partnerships within the community, and I'm thrilled to partner with some of the organizations that are here today, as well as with local schools through a variety of community coalitions and meetings, various medical providers, including PureView, ShowDare, all of the pediatricians in town, universities, Helena College, Youth Connections Coalitions, etc. So in conclusion, the funds from alcohol tax play a critical role in helping us reach families early before substance misuse begins, and if already experiencing it, in supporting children, youth, and families in their moments of need. Since 2017, Intermountain has been honored to serve as a trusted partner in this work, and we look forward to building on our prevention and support efforts for many more years. Thank you.
Okay. I have a question. I'm just amazed, at the breadth of the services that Intermountain provides. My question is, do you have any way of measuring your success? The reason I ask is, in my former life as an attorney, I saw some families where it seemed like it was grandma and grandpa had been in trouble for the same things, and then mom and dad, and now the little kids, and it just seems like it is cyclical. How long has this treatment, the Intermountain Children's Home model, been in place? And do you have any way of figuring out how successful it is, or do we just hope for the best?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, all of the above. We definitely have been here for a really long time. Intermountain's been around for 115 years.
See.
And has demonstrated resilience in adjusting over that time, trying to meet the need and facing all of the challenges that come with operating a nonprofit facility. We definitely do assessments in the beginning and throughout treatment and at the end, and I would be happy to give you at some point, I don't have them today, but I could send them to you, the data statistics, but even anecdotally, the work that happens. And it is true, it is sometimes generational. And sometimes kids that come to us are kids that have been adopted or are working to to work through their issues with their family. We work with families. We don't work with just the child. It's a requirement of our program. And so I can tell you things like kids that I've met that have been with us come back and talk and share what their experiences are. And probably the most poignant quote I could say is, Intermountain gave me a life worth living. And this is a woman who's working on her master's degree in social work in Missoula. Those kinds of stories are real.
And we can't expect 100%. So any benefit to be seen helps our society function better. Thank you. Tom, did you have any questions?
Nothing at this point, no.
Okay, the next presentation, Florence Crittenton Home and Services.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. Thank you for having us here to talk to you about what we've been up to the last year. My name is Daniel Champer. I'm the Clinical Director for Florence Crittenton Family Services.
You talk really fast. Could you say your name again, please?
Yes, Daniel Champer, Champer.
Thank
I'm
you.
the Clinical Director for Florence Crittenton Family Services. Florence Crittenton serves mothers and babies pretty exclusively through our programs at different ages and stages. Our Women and Children's Recovery Home provides a therapeutic, stable, and healing living environment for women aged 18 to 35 plus and their children while they receive clinical substance use treatment and supportive recovery and early childhood services. This program is licensed to provide treatment at the ASAM and support 3.1 level, consisting of structured SUD services in a 24-hour residential care setting with clients receiving 6 to 8 hours of clinical services per week. These services include individual, family, and group therapy, but what is most important is rehabilitation aid, case management services, and peer support services around the clock. Sober living doesn't happen just in your therapist's office. It happens on weekends and nights and 10 o'clock on a Friday night when you're having a craving. And those folks are the people who support our moms and our babies every hour of every day in their 1 to 2 year long journey towards sobriety. These staff assist and empower clients in navigating their day-to-day challenges, triumphs, and busy schedules. For our youth maternity home, they take moms to high school, something that we don't think of often, and then support that mom throughout their day. We just had a mom go to prom the other day, which was really exciting. And those are the really cool kind of normal experiences that we all take for granted that these moms have never got to experience in their life. Rehabilitation aides are trained to identify clients experiencing crisis and often act as a liaison between the clients and the clinical team. This is one of the most crucial roles in our program. There's very little funding available to support these direct care staff positions, and this is something that the funding provided through the commission has been able to support in the last year. The other is medication management. Medication management for moms who are pregnant, parenting, or breastfeeding is very complicated. Psychotropic medication is something that most providers won't provide. And that funding allows us to provide that very specialized care for our very specialized population. The complexities of the medication and treatment of clients with co-occurring disorders can be a daunting task that requires a significant amount of oversight and attention. So throughout the last year, we have partnered with a lot of different organizations, some here. Florence Crittenton coordinates with a variety of partners to meet the needs of the young families we serve. We work with the Helena School District to identify the needs of families with school-age children and coordinate with the state placing agencies, including Montana DPHHS and DOJ, that are critical to reaching at-risk families. Florence Crittenton has an MOU and works closely with the District 1 Behavioral Health Court to offer services that meet the needs of family working through SUD recovery. We provide individualized. Yes.
I have a real thing about acronyms. SUD, and I know what an MOU is, but some of these terms, while everybody in your world knows them, everybody in my world doesn't. What's an SUD?
a substance use disorder.
Thank you.
We also have a real thing for acronyms,
I
especially in the
know
mental health
every
world.
department does, and an SUD in your department is not the same as an SUD in his department. So proceed.
So we provide individualized case management services to all residential clients to identify their needs and connect them with community resources. Another thing that we've really seen an uptick of in the last 5 to 10 years is coordinating with the Department of Justice through serving victims of human trafficking and sexual exploitation. The kind of increased focus and attention of the Department of Justice on prosecuting these offenders has been pretty widely recorded and reported upon, but what is not is there are not very many victim services. And we provide those victim services for moms who fit into our clinical criteria. Clients served last year, we served 56 families in our home visiting services. 785 individual home visits were completed. We served 81 families in our parenting classes. Our youth maternity home currently has 3 families in it with 3 children under the age of 2. Outpatient treatment, we served 34 unduplicated clients, 2,242 individual peer support services, 985 individual targeted case management services, 372 individual therapy services, 337 group therapy services. In residential treatment, 13 unduplicated clients received residential treatment services through our Women and Children's Recovery Home.
Wait a second. Unduplicated what?
Unduplicated services.
So nobody else is serving this, is doing this.
Correct.
Okay.
We are the only youth maternity home in the Pacific Northwest that serves women as young as 12.
Wow. Impressive.
We were able to provide 13 detox services to 13 unduplicated clients through our recovery home. Florence Crittenden is proud to be among the agencies coordinating to address the substance use needs of families in our community. Thank you so much for your time. Do you have any questions?
Andy, do you have any questions for him?
I do not.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Just something, I guess, that when you are looking at things from a lot of different directions, what percentage of the people that you deal with who have a problem with alcohol also have mental health issues?
100% of our current clients have co-occurring disorder. So
Thank
mental
you.
health and substance use.
Thank you.
Okay. So when a person, do people get out of your program because they age out, so they're no longer qualify for your set of services, or do they actually become more self-sufficient and move on to their next part of their life successfully?
The goal for when they leave is for them to have a job, a car, and a place to live. And we support them in doing so. One thing that we didn't talk about today is our transitional living program. So we own 4 homes that we can serve 6 individual families. When they leave our recovery home or our youth maternity home, they can move into one of those residences. They retain their therapeutic services, their case manager, their licensed addiction counselor, their therapist, and they move through life with just a little bit of help. They pay us rent at the subsidized housing rate, but through a SAMHSA grant, whenever they graduate that program, we actually give all of that money back to them.
What's a SAMHSA grant?
Oh, that's one that I might not be able to. Substance abuse, mental health, services. There we go. Just throw.
Great. Thank you. I know this is all very plain to you, but those of us on the outside, it's very helpful to have a detailed explanation. So
Yeah.
What a program. Great.
Yes, we're the only one doing this federally. The SAMHSA grant is federal, and we are very unique across the United States in the program that we're providing.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. The next subject will be the YWCA. I remember you.
Good morning. How are you? Good morning, Commissioner. For the record, Denise King, Interim Executive Director for the YWCA. I've been in the position since September of '24. Now, today I'd like to present information about the YWCA program. Women Initiating New Growth and Stability, WINGS is the short name, empowering women in the path to recovery. The WINGS is a state-endorsed substance use disorder recovery program and mental health center offering holistic wraparound care for women who experience homelessness, co-occurring mental health and substance use disorder, poverty, justice system involvement, and women with children. Then they have involvement with children's protective services. Our interdisciplinary treatment plan is grounded in research and evidence-based practices, focusing on the unique needs of each woman who have experienced significant trauma. We offer a range of services to support and house women, parent, in the family unit. We currently employ 3 dually licensed treatment providers and a clinical director. We require dual licensures of our therapists because our clients experience significant trauma in their life. So co-occurring means that they are licensed in substance and mental health disorder. That's considered best practice. The YWCA provides unique and coordinated array of services due to the dual licenses of the Substance Use Disorder Outpatient Facility and Mental Health Center. Our certification as a recovery residence and our designation as a HUD home grant housing and shelter provider. We provide housing or shelter for women and children if they are parenting their child. We offer, our program is an intensive outpatient services. As clients progress through their stages of treatment, they continue to reside up to 2 years, but it could be longer depending on the housing availability. If they are ready to graduate, they don't have a house or home to go to, they stay with us and we continue providing services for them and their children. We have a family advocate who also assists in acquiring, having them regain their driver's license, legal aid, transportation, affordable housing. The family advocate also assists in if they need services for their children. We have served in 30 women. They received treatment through substance and mental health services. We had 26 children also receive those types of services. We provided over 4,000 hours of substance use disorder therapy, nights of shelter, over 5,000 nights of shelter for women, and over 4,000 nights of shelter for children. Our family advocate has helped 21 women and 49 children. Throughout the last 15 years, the YWCA has partnered with county on several projects. We counter with our partnerships. We provide diapers for the folks at Florence Clinton. We provided food. If we have things come in that we're not able to use for our current population, we share that information or those products with our sister agencies. We attend the Human Services Task Force. We participate in a variety of services and committees with the city and the county. The alcohol tax funds that we receive through you all help with our prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation services. The last 2 years, we've received 15% of the allocation from the Lewis and Clark County. If there's any room for an increase, we would really appreciate that. Let's see, what else? So looking forward in 25, we continue to empower women to chart their own path in recovery, resistance, and growth. We work alongside our community stakeholders on a variety of policy changes, addressing the needs of unsheltered women, children. We're dedicated to providing safe and stable housing and ensuring that these families can move back into the society. Our we try to track people up to 2 years after they leave our services. Some are willing to share information, some aren't, but when we look at the numbers, we have an 80% success rate. If somebody has left our services and has relapsed, depending on the situation, we welcome them back into our services and help them start again. So that's my story today. There's any questions?
I have a question about the general program. There's all these providers. Who assigns these people with these needs to, how do they figure out which program they would best fit? Do you know?
Well, we work with some of the inpatient treatment centers, and they'll contact us, and there's an application process. So there's an interview that we have conducted with potential clients, and if it's a good fit for us. We have found that if somebody is from the Lewis and Clark County area, they're not as successful as somebody from outside of our county because they'll come back to their friends.
Of course.
So we kind of look at that and we ask that individual from the Lewis and Clark County area, what does your support system look like here? And then we talk to them about the temptation to go back and visit with those friends. And we can't serve them, we try to find a place for them. But there's an application process for us. And we work with that inpatient facility also, trying to find the right match for that individual.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
That's
for
a
the
good
question.
explanation. Yes. Any other questions? In that case, we need
Okay, well, thank you for your
Coleman.
time.
What?
Thank you for your time.
Sure. Coleman Community Services. Wait a minute. You're not Coleman Community Service. You work for us.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I did not unfortunately hear back from Coleman Community Services through repeated attempts to contact them to come today. So no update from them. I will just wrap this up by saying that these updates were for fiscal year 25 funds, and next week I will be back with recommendations for the designation for fiscal year 26 funds.
Okay. Well, Misty, this has just been very educational.
Good.
Any further commission? Go, Andy, do you want to?
Chair-Payne?
Go
Yeah,
for it.
just
Don't we?
comment and thanks for, I was going to ask about next steps, but I knew what they were, but I wanted you to make sure we told folks that. But I just wanted to say thank you to all of our groups that presented today and really appreciate what you do in our community. And I'm very proud that Lewis and Clark County can in this small way be a partner with you. We, as has been mentioned by several, we partner in lots of different ways, but in this particular case, it's the alcohol tax funds. And so I'm just grateful that we get to do that with you and partner with you. And I wish it was many, many times more because, this is a drop in the bucket. We recognize that, or I recognize that at least. And so grateful. And as you heard by some of the questions, I've been around a while, so I think I've toured, I've been there, I've been in and out of lots of your facilities and your programs, and I think I understand them. I come from that background too. But it would be great if you had opportunity to invite commissioners that have not been to your facilities and through your programs to have a really good understanding about what you do. I think that appreciation for all that you do would be great. So I would recommend that if you have an opportunity to invite folks to come see your places. Thank you.
I must say, I was somewhat concerned when he started saying, I've been in these programs for years. And I think, really? I had no idea that you had a background of,
Well, Commissioner,
now we know.
I'll fill you in later.
Anything?
Just thanks to these groups for the wonderful work that they do, and there is need for them. I'm glad that we're able to pass some of this money along to help with these programs.
Thank you, Misty. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none. Aha. We will move along to the, okay, we were going to auction that off later. Noxious weed board bylaws update. Christian, you rascal, here you are again.
Good morning, Chair Payne. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Christian Lehnert. I'm the Lewis and Clark County Noxious Weed Supervisor. Before you this morning are the updated and revised Lewis and Clark County Noxious Weed Board bylaws. The Noxious Weed Board reviewed the bylaws and voted to approve minor changes and edits during the annual organizational meeting held January 8th, 2025. The bylaws are used to establish the board's internal management by setting out the rules, responsibilities for shareholders, directors, and officers, as well as set the rules for meetings, specifying voting procedures and establish other positions and responsibilities. The Noxious Weed Board made changes to Article 7, Section 7, titled "The Order of Business to be Followed," the agenda of our meetings. They changed and combined role introductions and recognition of visitors under the same order of business. There were also minor formatting and grammatical error or grammatical changes completed as well. Just some cleanup. These bylaws have been reviewed and approved by the Lewis and Clark County Noxious Weed Board. Staff recommends approval of the presented Lewis and Clark County Noxious Weed Board bylaws revision and updates.
Thank you, Christian. Any questions from the commission?
Chair Payne,
Andy?
Mr. Lehnert, thanks. Happy to support. This is great. Glad we're at this point. If anyone in the public wanted to see these or learn about the weed board, how would they do it? Or the weed program? They're on your side, I'm assuming you're on the side.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Heinhausen. I guess a little bit like what we provide as a weed division, or where they can get a hold of the bylaws.
Both.
Both. Okay. Well, they will be recorded and put in to the clerk and recorder as accepted and reviewed. And then there's a copy up here. Then we also have a copy at our office, and we usually post those on our website as well.
Great. And then if people want to learn more about what you and the group do and how they can get involved?
Yes, well, funny you should ask that. Today or this week is Noxious Weed Awareness Week. So there's lots of information out there on social media, but we provide a lot of good stuff for Lewis and Clark County Noxious Weed Division. Some of the top things we do is we do have a cost share program. So please, anyone that's interested in doing that, come to our office or visit our website for that. We do rentals, we do education. We work with all the entities within Lewis and Clark County, from private landowners, municipalities, state and federal agencies. We collaborate with each other and educate each other, as well as help get some weed works done within Lewis and Clark County.
Thanks. I didn't want to put you on the spot. You do great work, so I wanted you to be able to blow your horn a little bit and tell people what you do and where they can get involved. So thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Tom, any questions?
Just a comment too. You've got a great representation from around the county on your board. And we're always looking for volunteers to help out. If people have an interest in it, we would encourage them to apply to be on, to participate on the READ board. There's a couple of at-large positions, but most of the positions are designated for a certain part of the county. And but encourage folks that have an interest to be a part of it.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe, yes.
All right.
Okay. Can you kind of go through and show us which sections were changed?
I do not have the actual bylaws with me, but in Section 7, in our agenda for our board, we had it sort of like segmented out, like introductions, public, visitors, and we sort of just put all the introductions together in one area in that Section 7 or Article 7, Section 7. Sort of, it is the part of our bylaws that how we have our board meeting organized. Like how we put our agenda together. Pardon me, Commissioner Payne.
So I recall there may have been a few changes of terms and names on there too that had to be done to be up, some things had to be updated?
Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe. Yes, yeah, we had some just cleanup and making sure everything was defined properly with how we've had some, what would I say? Confusion on district and board. And so we're making sure all those things are put together. We did that in our weed management plan and then made sure that our bylaws also were indicative to the same. And then just as we read through it through the years, you can see some grammar errors, misspellings and stuff like that. So we just made sure to go through there and make sure everything is formatted so it's all the same formatting, everything's aligned and correctly spaced out.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any public comment on this? Seeing none, I guess we probably need a motion here.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the Lewis and Clark County Noxious Weed Board bylaw update as explained by Christian Lehnert.
Second.
All those in favor of approving this bylaw update signify by saying aye.
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 It's been, anyone opposed to this? Are you here to spray weeds?
No, but I can if you need me to.
Well, I will think about that. I love a
I'm here to
volunteer.
help.
All those in favor, let's see, we did that. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously, and these bylaws are now in effect. Sign this and get it moving. Item 3E is the grant application to the United States Department of Justice. And this is presented by Brian Robinson. Welcome.
Commissioner Payne, thank you. Commissioners, once again, I'm Captain Brian Robinson with the Sheriff's Office. I come before you today to ask for your support and permission to apply for a grant through the United States Department of Justice for the Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act. The goal of this act is to increase funding for the delivery and access to mental health and wellness services, training and programming for employees of law enforcement agencies and their families. There's a couple ways that this grant asks that we do this. There's 3 of them: increasing law enforcement agencies' capability to provide mental health and wellness training and resources for employees and their families, increasing law enforcement agency capacity to implement peer support networks for crisis and non-crisis circumstances, and increasing law enforcement agency capacity to address and reduce the stigma associated with officer mental health and wellness. Last year, we received your permission to apply for the grant. We did not receive it, but we're here to try again because we feel that this is very important for our employees over at the Sheriff's Office. Last year, I had the opportunity to share some of my experiences over the last 25 years of my career. I'm not going to do that again, but I'm just going to remind everybody that on average, for a 20-year career, the average law enforcement officer sees over 800 traumatic events. The normal citizen sees less than 10. When we polled our staff whether or not they would take advantage to see a mental health professional, shocking, 93% said they would. That's something we don't have really the ability to do right now. We're really hoping that this year we are lucky enough to award this grant because our end goal is to get everybody to retirement age, the ability to retire as healthy as the first day that they came in. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. Oh, sorry, I do have things. We are going to ask for $200,000, which is the max amount. There is no match, and the grant period runs from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th of 2027. So it's a 2-year grant period.
Thank you. Is $200,000 doesn't seem like very much to do the job that this program is requiring them to do for these officers. Do you have any comment on that? Is there any other money? Is there any other way we can support this?
We've looked, there isn't a lot of grant opportunities right now. This is the biggest one in the United States. It's offered every year, and you have to be a brand new agency. I shouldn't say a brand new agency. You're only to apply for it once. So if you got it last year, you can't do it again. So they open it up for other people to get. Other than outright budgeting for these services through each agency or department, that's the only way to fund something like this as of right now.
So if we start this program, in two years, we may have to take it away. Is that correct?
We may have to, yes, but we're looking at ways to start the program so it's a jump start. A lot of the startup costs are initial, and then there may not be any startup costs afterwards. One of the biggest things is the training that we want to provide for our people. The peer support training, the wellness training, officer mental health and wellness training, where we can get to that, at least for our current employees. Yes, down the road, another 5-10 years, we may have to look at budgeting for that training again, because our employees are always going to change.
Certainly. Other questions from the commission? Tom?
No questions. It just looks like a very worthwhile endeavor, and I guess just a comment that before getting in this position, I wasn't aware of really how many traumatic events that you folks deal with on a daily basis. And I think this is an important thing for both the officers and for their families who are worried about them. So I will strongly support this.
Thank you.
Andy?
I agree, and I will, and I hope we're successful this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, time for a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the grant application to the United States Department of Justice as presented by Captain Robinson.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this grant application as presented by Captain Robinson. All those in favor say aye.
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 Is there any opposed? This motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Did I ask for public comment? Did? Okay. Don't want to lose out on any of these things. Thank you all for coming in. Be safe. Okay. Sign that. Oh boy, now we get to go. The next item on our agenda is a resolution 2025-34 to adopt the 2025 Montana Western Hazard Mitigation Plan as presented by Mr. Kyle Sturgill. Simon, go for it.
Chair Payne, Commissioners, thank you. Again, Kyle Sturgill Simon, Emergency Management for Lewis and Clark County. Here today to talk to you about our hazard mitigation plan. So working collaboratively with, my phone thought I was asking it a question. Apologies. Working collaboratively with Montana Disaster and Emergency Services, that's the state office that we work with, also neighboring counties and our own local partners. We now have an updated regional hazard mitigation plan, as well as a Lewis and Clark County specific annex. Together, these plans identify the most impactful hazards in our area and serve as a guide for how to minimize future exposure to them. To be recognized as a complete plan by FEMA, each local jurisdiction needs to formally adopt it. Once adopted, the plan is in effect for a period of 5 years. There's also a process described in the plan for continuous updates and improvements to ensure that changes in our community are recognized. And that process will be taken on by the Local Emergency Planning Committee, the LEPC, which meets weekly or monthly rather, and has representation from across the county. The hazard mitigation plan is our way of recognizing that disasters have impacted our communities and they will continue to do so. There are 129 mitigation activities described in this plan. many of which have already been initiated or are an ongoing effort. Adoption of this plan makes us eligible for hazard mitigation grant funding through FEMA, which is how we like to pursue going after some of those costlier mitigation activities. The Emergency Management Program asks that you adopt this plan for Lewis and Clark County. We would also like to thank, because this is a very large collaborative effort, we'd like to thank all the staff from Lewis and Clark County, as well as City of Helena, City of East Helena, and our local partners that contributed their time and expertise to make this an actionable plan for our communities. This is a long process. So my background, I started in emergency management with State Disaster and Emergency Services as a mitigation coordinator. So my job was to help procure funding for local communities to go after plan updates like this. After as a mitigation coordinator as a field officer, and then I would, in that capacity, go out to local communities and help. And that's actually where I was working here as a state employee 3 years ago with Lewis and Clark County staff as they initiated this process. So that tells you a little bit about how long it takes. Let's see. So the resolution before you. Whereas Lewis and Clark County recognizes the threat that natural hazards pose to people and property within our community. And whereas undertaking hazard mitigation actions will reduce the potential for harm to people and property from future hazard occurrences. And whereas an adopted hazard mitigation plan is required as a condition of future funding for mitigation projects under multiple federal emergency management agency pre- and post-disaster mitigation grant programs. Whereas Lewis and Clark County is within the planning area, fully participated in the mitigation planning process to prepare this hazard mitigation plan. And whereas the Montana Disaster and Emergency Services and Federal Emergency Management Agency, Region 8, officials have reviewed the 2024 Montana Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan and approved it contingent upon this official adoption of the participating governing body. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lewis and Clark County hereby adopt the Montana Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan as an official plan, and be it further resolved, Lewis and Clark County will submit this adoption resolution to the Montana Disaster and Emergency Services and Federal Emergency Management Agency, Region 8 officials to enable the plan's final approval.
Thank you, Kyle. I'm looking at the language of the resolution, and the final paragraph is Lewis and Clark County will submit this adoption resolution to the Montana Disaster and Emergency Services and Federal Emergency Management Agency Region 8 officials to enable the plan's final approval. So is this something that the office of the county commission is going to take care of, or does this land back in your lap and you will be the one submitting it?
Chair Payne, yeah, we will submit it on behalf of the county if the resolution is approved by the commission. So currently the plan is in a status called approved pending adoption, where it has already been reviewed. They've found that it meets all requirements and it's a good solid plan. But because the county has not formally adopted it by resolution yet, it's not on the books. So this is our last step to get it on the books.
And what I don't want to have happen is somebody drops the ball and, oh, I thought you took care of that. So thank you. And will this be on the Lewis and Clark County website so people can look at it, review it?
Commissioner Payne, yep, good question. As far as the ball goes, I've been carrying the ball in one way or another for 3 years now, so definitely won't drop it on the last yard line. But the plan itself is currently available on our website, the draft version, and then we'll have a final formalized version put up on the website after this process. And I highly recommend, plans of this nature are not usually things that people seek after to read on a nice sunny day sitting out in the grass, but people who are new to the community, this is what I recommend they read if they want to know more about the area, because it doesn't just talk about doom and gloom and these are the disasters that take place, but it also talks about, you know, our history as a county and what has happened and what might happen in the future. And people usually feel better if they know that they know what their risks are a little bit more.
Okay. You don't want us looking at this when we get news that there's a dam burst up the roadways and what do we do now?
Commissioner Payne, absolutely. So this is a mitigation plan, not an action plan. This is our way of looking forward and making sure that exposures to natural hazards are as minimized as best we can. There's no such thing as completely mitigated other than hurricanes. We have that one licked. But when disasters happen, we don't pull this plan out. Hopefully we have been able to get some of these mitigation actions done ahead of time, and it reduces the impact of those natural disasters.
Okay, thank you. Tom, any questions?
I just a thought that I looked at that 400 pages or so, and I think it's pretty thorough. Helps people think through things and what they can do to protect themselves and their families. And I think your suggestion of it's a great thing for new people who've moved into this area to take a look at, so that they walk in with their eyes open. And I'm just impressed with how thorough and how comprehensive it is. Thank you for your work on this. I know it's been a long effort, and it's well worthwhile for our community.
Thank you, Tom. Andy?
Chair Payne, not to repeat anything, I think the thank you and the content is great. Just want to recognize again the hard work that goes. This document represents a lot of time and effort and detail, and it is worth folks to time to check it out. So thank you for the good work, for the care of our community.
And adding on to both of those comments, you know, I moved here temporarily in, I think, 1992. I've lived here quite a while, and I'm amazed at all the things our county government provides for us. I didn't know they did that. And I run into this out, you know, at the grocery store or at a ball game or wherever I run into people that, oh, well, I didn't know we could do that. So people who are not necessarily new to our community, it would certainly be a benefit to, you know, maybe you could turn it into a game on our cell phones so that we could encourage young people to read it too. Okay. Thank you, Kyle. Are there any other, is there any public comment on this? Seeing none. We have a motion, please.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve Resolution 2025-34 to adopt the 2025 Montana Western Hazard Mitigation Plan as explained by Kyle Sturgill Simon.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any further comment? I seem to have forgotten to be putting that in. Is there any further comment? Seeing none. All those in favor of approving this resolution indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Kyle. The next item on our agenda is a grant task order 25-7-4-31-123-0. Amendment number 1 to Lewis and Clark Public Health from Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services as presented by our friend Brenda Neiman.
Good morning, Chair Payne and Commissioners. My name is Brenda Neiman. I'm the Health Officer for Lewis and Clark Public Health. This morning, I have before you a task order amendment from the Department of Public Health and Human Services. This task order is our fiscal year 25, so our current task order for immunization services. We received notification from the State Health Department that our current task order will be reduced by $55,345 due to the federal funding termination from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that happened back in March of this year. The scope of work that we do under this task order, which is immunization services for residents living in the county, will not change or be changed by this amendment. We will continue to provide services to residents with immunization services, and we will continue throughout the duration of this task order, which ends June 30th of 2025. Staff recommends approval of this amendment.
Okay, just so today is June 3rd. So this has only got 22 days left.
Chair Payne and Commissioners, we will receive, the next item on the agenda is our new task order for the new fiscal year. So we receive task orders from the state of Montana 1 year at a time. So our current task order does end June 30th, and the new task order will begin July 1st.
Okay, so this doesn't really mess up your plan of action for this matter, correct?
Chair Payne and Commissioners, not in the long term. We did have to make some minor adjustments to our current funding with the reduction of the $55,000. That is not an insignificant amount of funding. However, we did anticipate some of this happening with changes happening at the federal level. And so the reduction in funding will not impact our ability to provide the service. We will continue to do so.
Good. Any questions from the commission? Andy?
Not a question. Nope.
Is there any public comment? Seeing none, then we better have a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move that we approve the grant task order amendment number 1 as presented by Health Officer Neiman.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the grant task order 25-07-4-31-123-0, amendment number 1, to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, as presented by Brendan Neiman.
Chair Payne.
Any further comments?
Chair Payne, if I could. Health Officer Neiman, thank you for your explanation, and I'm really glad that we're going to be able to continue the current level of service to the community. And I know that there had to be some changes and some moving around of budgetary items to do that. I am concerned, the longevity of making sure that this is a critical service we provide to our community and a strategic prevention activity for disease in our community. And it's one of the things that the health department is trying to do, is reduce the prevalence of disease and to address disease in our community. So I thank you for that right now, being able to continue that level of service. And I hope that the priority for prevention comes back in some way from our friends at the federal level, and that we continue to be able to provide the same services we have in the past. Thank you.
Tom, anything?
It just seems to me like you're being forward thinking about this, realizing the situation and trying to take care of it in the manner that seems most appropriate for your agency. So thank you.
Drinda, I've heard on the news of the new measles outbreaks, and I believe there's 3 counties in Montana that are currently recognizing they have that. Is there any word of that in our fair county?
Chair Payne and Commissioners, at this time, Lewis and Clark County does not have a measles case. However, because it is now in the state of Montana, it's only a matter of time. So it's not if, but when we will get a case here, and we'll do what we do and investigate the case and mitigate the impact. And At this time, we've been doing a lion's share of preparedness work around measles, knowing that we will eventually have a case. So preparedness in our county looks like reaching out to our medical providers, helping them understand what to do when they have a potential measles case come through their doctor's offices. We are preparing with communication with the labs to ensure that samples are being processed in a timely manner so that we get the information we need to do the isolation and the quarantine measures that we do for measles. And we've been doing an enormous amount of community outreach and communication about the importance of getting vaccinated. And then if individuals think they may have been exposed, what to do then. It's really important that if somebody's been exposed and think they might have measles, that they don't run into the emergency room or into the doctor's office, that they call ahead, because it's such a highly contagious disease that we need to make sure that the doctor's office is prepared for that individual so that they're not exposing people in the waiting room. They're not exposing other medical providers in the facility. So those are the measures that we're taking at this time in preparation for a potential case. But again, it's not if, but when that will happen now that we're in the measles is in Montana. So we are a large state, however, a very small state.
Wasn't there a requirement that school-aged children before they were admitted to school had to have shots, including MMR, which I think was measles, mumps, rubella, and we don't do that anymore?
Chair Payne and Commissioners, yes, that is still a requirement for school-aged children. The recommendation for the MMR, so the measles, mumps, and rubella, is at 12 months, and then again, right before they go into kindergarten, so at between 4 and 5 years old. It's the 2-dose requirement that is 98% effective against contracting measles. However, over the course of time, there have been exemptions put into place. So a medical exemption is allowable, which is important for children that may not be able to get the vaccine due to allergic reaction or other medical conditions that prohibit the use of the vaccine. The second exemption is a religious exemption. So families that have a religious or a faith-based reason for not getting the vaccine. So we do have pockets of individuals within our county that have a lower vaccine level than the general population. We don't know what the vaccine level is for the entire county. However, Helena Public School System has reported that they are well over 95%, between 95 and 96% vaccinated. So we're fairly protected. However, those that are not vaccinated, it's highly contagious, and it's almost a guarantee that if you're not vaccinated or have immunity against measles, that you will contract that. So we do anticipate there will be a case.
So if they do contract measles, they would develop their own immunity.
They sure would. Unfortunately, measles is one of those diseases that you don't want to get immunity from the disease itself. However, individuals that were born in the 50s and earlier, that is how they gained their immunity, is through exposure to measles. So
I think I missed my first grade Christmas program because I had chicken pox and then it went into measles. So, okay, thank you. I guess we only learned through our own actions. And here we go
measles
again.
is serious. It causes really serious illness. And of the cases in Montana, 2 have been hospitalized.
So is there any chance of this becoming a problem for people like in nursing homes, elderly people?
It's not necessarily, that population is not as at risk as the littles. And so, as I mentioned, the MMR is given at 12 months and then again at between 4 and 5 years old. So we have babies that are not eligible for the vaccine until they're 12 months old. They are the most at risk.
Oh, sure. Okay. Isn't this an interesting meeting? Aren't you glad you got to come over here and didn't have to sit over there and you're doing legal stuff? Thank you, Brenda. Okay, I already asked for public comment, didn't I? Okay, and did we have a motion? We did, and this was asked for. Okay, I think we're ready to vote on this, right? It has been moved and seconded that we approve grant task order 2507-431-1230. I'm looking at the wrong one, aren't I?
That's correct. Amendment number 1.
It's the amendment number 1.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I got you here for 2 things on the agenda, so I want to make sure I get them both in. As presented by Brenda Neiman, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Move, the grant task order is approved unanimously. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
Next, moving right along, grant task order to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. Okay. Brenda, you're up.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Commissioners. Again, my name is Brenda Neiman. I'm the Health Officer for Lewis and Clark Public Health. I have before you a grant task order from the State Department of Public Health and Human Services. This task order is for immunization services for fiscal year 26 in the amount of $27,579. The term will begin July 1st, 2025 and will end on July 1st, 2025 and will end June 30th, 2027. The purpose of the task order is to reduce the burden of vaccine preventable disease within Lewis and Clark County by ensuring the oversight and provision of immunization services for children, adolescents, and adults. These funds support the public health nurses that provide the immunization services at the health department. The health department has received these funds for many years. This task order represents our annual renewal, and the funds are represented in our fiscal year 26 budget, which was presented to you all last week. I will take just a moment and give you a sense of the immunization services that we provide. It is quite extensive and quite comprehensive, so I'll give you just a small smattering of the vaccine services that we do have. Flu and COVID, of course, are seasonal, and we do provide those in the fall. Our childhood vaccinations include our MMR vaccinations, Tdap. We do adolescent with a HPV. It's a cancer prevention vaccination that we provide. Shingles, we do the shingles and varicella vaccines as well. And then many travel vaccinations. So we are actually the only entity in the county that provides the necessary vaccinations for individuals who are traveling outside of the United States. So individuals come into our office, we do a consultation to learn where it is that they're planning to travel. We do the research on what diseases are prevalent in the area and recommend certain vaccinations to help protect the travelers as they're going. So anything from yellow fever to typhoid, things like that, depending on where they're traveling. So in this past year, we have provided well over 6,000 vaccinations. 3,697 of those were just the general vaccinations that children get before school. Adults get, the shingles vaccination. We get our Tdap, hepatitis A and B. And then 548 of those were travel vaccinations. And then 1,211 were flu, 875 were COVID. So in this last year, 6,331 vaccinations delivered out of the health departments by our very small team of public health nurses. We have a team of 4 public health nurses that provide service within the health department, and we also do mobile clinics throughout the community and up into the Lincoln and Augusta areas as well to ensure that the residents up in those areas receive the vaccinations that they would like as well. We are able to submit reimbursement for the vaccines that we provide. to insurance companies. So both public and private insurance they're billed for the vaccine services that we're able to bill for. The funds that we get help us with just our base operating, which is not a whole lot. You can see $27,000 doesn't really go very far when we have 4 staff and lots of vaccines. So we do rely pretty heavily on our ability to submit for reimbursement to Medicaid, Medicare, and then all of our private insurance companies. That brings in about $300,000 a year in revenue for our program. So we don't, the task order is important, and those funds are put to good use within the health department, but we rely really heavily on the insurance reimbursement that we get for this program. We also are considered not to be the first line in our community. Primary care providers, they also provide vaccinations, and then the pharmacies across our community provide vaccinations. So we are the backstop for individuals that don't have access in other ways. And then we also are the VFC provider, which means that we are able to provide free vaccines for children. VFC. So they're vaccine programs, federal vaccine programs. So we are given vaccines that we can provide for free to children and adults who do not have any other method of payment. So they don't have the insurance or they don't have the ability to pay out of pocket. So we have free vaccines that we are able to provide children as well as adults if needed. And we're one of a few providers in the community that has that program. So that's kind of a picture of the immunization services that we provide. The task order, again, is for $27,579. It begins July 1st and runs through June 30th of 2027. And staff recommends approval. I'm wondering if that's a typo. Do you have the task order in front of you? Is it 2026?
It does say on this memo that it expires June 30th, 2026.
Yeah, it's a typo on the agenda.
Okay.
Which is what I was reading from.
Oh.
So the agenda is incorrect. The agenda says 2027. It is 2026. It's a 1 year. Yeah. It's a 1 year task order. My apologies for the confusion.
Yeah, but you caught it. That's good. Thank you, Brenda. Let's see, is there any questions from the commission? Nope. Seeing none. Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I believe we need a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the grant task order, Lewis and Clark County Public Health from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, as explained by Brenda Neiman.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the grant task order as presented by Brenda Neiman. Is there any further comment from the commission? Andy? Tom? Okay. Let's see, is there any, did I ask for public comment? Yes, I did. Okay, ask for a vote. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the grant task order to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services as explained by Brenda Neiman. All those in favor of this motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed to this motion indicate by the same sign. This motion has passed unanimously. And thank you for all you do, Brenda. You are taking up a lot of our time today, Brenda.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Section 3I, contract between Lewis and Clark Public Health and Big Spring Water, and it's presented by Brenda.
Chair Payne and Commissioners, again, my name is Brenda Neiman, the Health Officer for Lewis and Clark Public Health. Today, I have before you a contract with Big Spring Water to provide water to the residents within the Upper 10 Mile Superfund boundary. The contract will expire December 31st, 2028, and will not exceed $100,000. This, if you don't mind entertaining a little history, I
think it's pretty important to get the history.
Yes, so I have some information for you about the Upper 10 Mile mining area that might help you understand why it is that we're providing water to the residents in the area. So the Upper 10 Mile Creek Mining Area Superfund site is comprised of 150 abandoned or inactive mining sites within or near the historic Rimini Mining District and the Upper 10 Mile Creek watershed. Most historic mining activity in the watershed took place within the Rimini Mining District and included hard rock mining for gold, lead, zinc, and copper. Mining activity began in the 1870s and continued through the 1930s. Mining activity became intermittent during and after World War II. The last active commercial mining in the Rimini Mining District ended in 1953. In October of 1999, the Upper 10 Mile Creek Mining Area site was added to the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA's, National Priorities List for Superfund cleanup. Cleanup on private land is being 90% paid for by the federal funds and 10% with state funds. The EPA conducted residential yard remediation up through 2016, and the main road was remediated in 2011. 67 yards have been remediated to date. The site's long-term remedy includes excavation and disposal of the contaminated roadway materials, contaminated soil from residential properties, and waste rock and tailings from 70 high-priority mine sites. Additional cleanup actions include monitoring surface water and sediment, augmenting stream flow, implementing institutional controls, capping and regrading the collapsed mine shafts, and constructing drainage features. Lewis and Clark County maintains a cooperative agreement with the Environmental Protection Agency to provide technical assistance at the Upper 10 Mile mining area. This award allows Lewis and Clark Public Health to implement components of an institutional control program to reduce residents' use of the water that is potentially contaminated. One of the activities identified in the cooperative agreement is the county's administration and management of a potable water distribution program. This includes maintenance of a contact list for delivery of the residents in the area, ensuring the timely payment of the invoices for water delivery services, replacement of the water dispensers as needed, and then water is currently being delivered to approximately 35 residents in and around the Rimini town site. We followed the county's procurement policy through an RFP process to come to the conclusion that Big Springs Water was the best option for delivering this service for us. And we recommend approval of the contract with Big Springs Water to continue to provide water to the residents in Rimini.
Thank you, Drenda. Very interesting. Commissioners, do we have any questions for Drenda on this?
I think it was well covered, Chair Payne.
Andy or Tom?
No.
I think you've just worn us down. Okay. Is there any public comment? Seeing none. I guess we better have a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move that we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark Public Health and Big Spring Water as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this contract between Lewis and Clark Public Health and Big Springs Water as presented by Brenda Neiman. Is there any further comment from the commission?
None.
Seeing none. All those in favor of approving this contract?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? This motion passes unanimously. Uh-oh, we lost one of our lawyers. Next on the agenda, grant award to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the National Environmental Health Association, as explained once more by Brenda Neiman.
Again, good morning, Chair Payne and Commissioners. My name is Brenda Neiman, Health Officer with Lewis and Clark Public Health. I have before you a grant award to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the National Environmental Health Association. The grant award totals $8,500, begins April 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2026. Since fiscal year 2022, Lewis and Clark Public Health has received funds from the National Environmental Health Association and Federal Drug Administration to implement the federal the federal food standards. For this year, the Health Department has been funded to specifically address improvements to Standard 2, which is trained staff, and Standard 7, which is community relations. For Standard 2, our emphasis is making sure that the staff within our licensed establishment program are standardized and maintaining their training records. This ensures that we have trained regulatory staff with the necessary skills and knowledge to conduct quality inspections. For standard number 7, we will provide the public with food safety information and provide more accessible inspection reports to the public on our website, and which improves the community's awareness of the work that we do. Again, the project runs from April 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2026, in the amount of $8,500, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Andy? Tom?
No.
Is there any public comment on this issue? Seeing none, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I move to approve the grant award to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the National Environmental Health Association as explained by Brenda Neiman.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Let's do first. Is there any further comments from the commission?
Just Chair Payne, just
Andy.
thank you. Really important program. Great funding for, and I like the objectives as well. Standardization, we've heard that a couple of times. Hey, one inspector looks at this and another one looks at this. And so getting them all trained so that they're, you come in the door and you get the same product. I think that's important. Plus just being ready to go and that training. So thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Chair Payne.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this grant award to Lewis and Clark Public Health and the National Environmental Health Association. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We have been at this for quite a while, and this is a test of your perseverance. We need to take a bathroom break. So we will break for 5 minutes and come right back and finish these two very important. At 10, we'll reconvene this meeting of the Lewis and Clark County Commission, proceeding with item number 3K. Contract between Lewis and Clark County and Scratch Gravel Road Maintenance LLC, as presented by Jessica Marcus.
Good morning, Chair Payne.
Sorry,
Commissioner.
Marcus, not Marcus.
That's okay. That's a common, that R gets stuck in there quite a bit.
Does,
No
right.
problem. Chair Payne, Commissioners, good morning. My name is Jessica Makis, Special Districts Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. Before you this morning is a contract with Scratch Gravel Road Maintenance LLC to provide grading, maintenance, and related services within various rural improvement districts, or RIDs, throughout Lewis and Clark County. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises in RIDs. This maintenance was solicited through a request for qualifications, which were due on April 30th, 2025. This type of solicitation was used with the intent to create a roster of qualified contractors to work from June 2025 through May 2028. 6 statements of qualifications, or SOQs, were received and reviewed by Public Works Department staff based on information included in the SOQ. We will work with each contractor to determine cost, availability, and preferred project locations as the need for this maintenance arises. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Scratch Gravel Road Maintenance LLC and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, are there questions from the commission?
Chair Payne,
Andy?
please. Just, yeah, I'm trying to think of someone sitting on their couch out there watching this, and why do we need so many? What are we doing? How come we're doing this? You explained it very quickly, but just a brief overview of why we do this and how we use these folks.
Absolutely. Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen. So within our rural improvement districts throughout the whole county, we have most of those districts are gravel road districts. With most of our contracted work within RIDs, and most of our work is contracted with our local contractors, we need more than one contractor to perform all of this work in our short summer, Montana summer seasons. So the best thing that we can do is to create a roster of contractors to perform that work. And then based on the cost that is proposed by each of those contractors and their availability, we can then schedule out that work through the summer season. Because the solicitation process is a little bit cumbersome for staff and for the contractors as well, we try to keep those open for a period of time. So this contract will be for the next 3 seasons, and these 6 contractors will be available to do that work as those roads deteriorate and need that grading maintenance. Each contractor will have the ability to adjust their pricing in the spring of each year to adjust for any inflation that's occurred over the last year, and we'll move forward with that as needed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Tom, anything?
And basically, all these are pretty much equivalent contracts for maybe slightly different services that they provide.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe, this is just for grading. So this solicitation was very specific to watering, grading, compacting gravel material. Occasionally, there will be some additional gravel required to fill in, low spots or something to that effect. But it is across the board the same service for this particular work.
Looks like an efficient way of doing things. I appreciate that.
So if there is, for example, magnesium chloride application required, then the county crews take care of that, or is that part of this contract?
Chair Payne, that's a great question. Magnesium chloride application is included with this contract. Only a subset of our gravel road RIDs have magnesium chloride included in their resolutions for maintenance. Of those districts that do have it, those were put into the schedule, and contractors were able to give pricing on that service as well. Only, I believe, 2 contractors did put in prices for that service. So when it comes to that magnesium chloride application, we will coordinate grading with the contractor that has the best pricing and availability for that work. And then we'll work with the 2 contractors that will provide magnesium chloride right after that. Those services have to be done. That magnesium chloride application has to happen right after the grading when the road is still wet.
The actual chemical, the magnesium chloride, does the county provide that to the applicators?
Chair Payne, no, that will be provided by the contractor.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Nope. Is there any public comment on this matter? Seeing none, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Scratch Gravel Road Maintenance LLC as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the contract with Scratch Gravel Road Maintenance LLC for road grading maintenance and related services as explained by Jessica Makis. Let's see, we have Did I ask for a motion? I'm sorry.
That was, yeah.
That was a motion. That's where we're at. Okay, is there any further comment?
None.
Okay. We have a motion before us to approve this contract. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next agenda item. Contract between Lewis and Clark County and Diggett Solutions LLC as presented by Jessica Makis.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Again, my name is Jessica Makis, Special Districts Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. We have 6 contracts for the same type of service before you this morning. So this is the contract with Diggett Solutions LLC to provide grading, maintenance, and related services within various rural improvement districts throughout Lewis and Clark County. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises in RIDs. This maintenance was solicited through a request for qualifications due on April 30th, 2025, to create a roster of qualified contractors to provide this service from June 2025 through May 2028. 6 statements of qualifications were received and reviewed by Public Works Department staff based on the information included in the SOQ. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Diggett Solutions LLC and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
No.
Andy, Tom? Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Diggett Solutions LLC as explained by Jessica Makis.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any further comments by the commission? Seeing none. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this contract with Diggett Solutions LLC as presented by Jessica Makis. All in favor of approving this signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. The motion passed unanimously. Thank you. All right. Next item on our agenda, contract between Lewis and Clark County and the Rocky Mountain Infrastructure LLC, also presented by Jessica Makis.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Again, my name is Jessica Makis, Special Districts Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. Before you this morning is the contract with Rocky Mountain Infrastructures LLC to provide grading, maintenance, and related services within various rural improvement districts throughout Lewis and Clark County. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises in RIDs. Again, this maintenance was solicited through a request for qualifications due on April 30th, 2025, with the intent to create a roster of qualified contractors to work from June 2025 through May 2028. 6 statements of qualifications were received and reviewed by Public Works Department staff based on the information included in the SOQ. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Rocky Mountain Infrastructures LLC and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Is there any questions from the commission?
None.
None.
Seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Rocky Mountain Infrastructures LLC as presented.
Second.
Is there any further comment from the commission?
No.
Then it has been moved and seconded that we approve the contract with Rocky Mountain Infrastructures LLC as presented by Jessica Makis. All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Moving right along. Item 3N is the contract with Gary Hegeset for road grading maintenance and related services.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Again, Jessica Makis, Special Districts Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. Before you this morning is a contract with Gary Hegeset to provide grading maintenance and related services within various rural improvement districts throughout the county. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises in RIDs. Again, this maintenance was solicited through a request for qualifications due on April 30th, 2025, to create a roster of qualified contractors to work from June 2025 through May 2028. 6 statements of qualifications were received and reviewed by Public Works Department staff based on the information included in the SOQ. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Gary Hegeset and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Is any questions from the commission?
Nope.
None.
Seeing no questions from the commission, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, could we have a motion, please?
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Gary Hegeset as explained by Jessica Makis.
Second.
Is there any further comment from the commission? Seeing none, it has been moved and seconded that we approve the contract with Gary Hegeset for the road grading maintenance and related services as presented by Jessica Makis. All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Item 3O, contract between Lewis and Clark County and Gruber Excavating, presented by our friend, Ms. Makis.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Jessica Makis, Special Districts Program Coordinator. Before you this morning is a contract with Gruber Excavating to provide grading maintenance and related services within various rural improvement districts throughout Lewis and Clark County. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises in RIDs. This maintenance was solicited through a request for qualifications due on April 30th, 2025, to create a roster of qualified contractors to perform work from June 2025 through May 2028. 6 statements of qualifications were received and reviewed by Public Works Department staff based on the information included in the SOQ. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Gruber Excavating and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission?
None.
None.
Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we'll now ask, let's have a motion here, gentlemen.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the contract between Gruber Excavating and Lewis and Clark County as presented.
Second.
Is there any comment by the commission at this point? Seeing none, it's been moved and seconded that this commission approve the contract with Gruber Excavating for road grading maintenance and related services in rural improvement districts as presented by Jessica Makis. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. One more time, Jessica Makis. The item number 3E, contract between Premier Utility Solutions LLC and Lewis and Clark County.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Again, my name is Jessica Makis, Special Districts Program Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. Before you this morning is a contract with Premier Utility Solutions LLC to provide grading maintenance and related services within various rural improvement districts throughout Lewis and Clark County. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises in RIDs. This maintenance was solicited through a request for qualifications, which were due on April 30th, 2025, with the intent to create a roster of qualified contractors to work from June 2025 through May 2028. 6 statements of qualifications were received and reviewed by Public Works Department staff based on the information included in the SOQ. This is the final grading contract that I'll present this morning. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Premier Utility Solutions LLC and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Is there any questions from the commission?
Nope.
Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I move to approve the contract between Premier Utility Solutions LLC and Lewis and Clark County as explained by Jessica Makis.
Second.
Is there any further comment from the
Sure.
commission?
Jumped in too soon, Chair Payne. But yes,
You have a question? A
comment.
comment?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, Commissioner Hunthausen, go for it.
Just wanted to wait till the last one before I mention this, but thank you. A lot goes into these contracts. We're moving through them and keeping track of who goes where and what and all the maintenance that has to be done out there. This is a big organizational nightmare from my perspective, but you do it well. And I thank you very much. Appreciation to the team that's all participated. And I'm assuming these gentlemen have also had some level of review. So thank you for that as well. Thank you, Chair.
These gentlemen being the county
Yeah.
attorney's representatives here.
Yes. Thank you.
Let's see. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the contract between Rocky Mountain Infrastructure. Is that right?
Premier Utility Solutions.
You know, there's a bunch of these things. I'm getting a little confused. Premier Utility Solutions LLC for road grading, maintenance, and related services in rural improvement districts, as presented by Jessica Makis. All in favor of this motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Could we get the bailiff to escort Miss Makis out? Just kidding, Jessica. Rachel, you've been waiting so patiently. We have plenty of time for you. There's no rush. So when you're ready to proceed, we will too.
Okay. Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. My name is Rachel Ward. I'm a planner with the Community Development and Planning Office.
Could you move the microphone so we can hear you better?
Absolutely. Can you hear me better?
Thank you, Rachel.
Perfect. Chair Payne, Commissioners, my name is Rachel Ward. I'm a planner with the Community Development and Planning Office. This morning, you have a request from Dale and Rochelle Stickler to authorize the amendment of the covenants of the amended plat of Lot 125, Big Valley subdivision. Specifically, the applicant is requesting that condition number 13 be removed. That condition states, notice is hereby given of a prohibition of raising, confinement, and/or keeping of livestock. The applicants are selling their property and have been in communication with some buyers, potential buyers, I should say, who are interested in keeping a horse on the lot. So this is the amended plat of Lot 125, Big Valley subdivision. The subdivision consists of 4 lots. Each of them are about 5 1/4 acre in size. You'll notice that there is an ephemeral drainage that does run through the property as well. 3 of these 4 lots are developed with residential structures. One of the lots, the southeast lot, is currently undeveloped. The plat was granted final plat approval in 2018. and the restrictive covenants that you have in front of you that were tied to a condition of the subdivision were recorded at that time. This is a vicinity map of the area. The subdivision is located in red off Hearthstone Court. Since that final plat approval, a few things have happened. First, in October of 2019, one of the property owners of within the subdivision requested to have covenant number 13 amended to allow for potbelly pigs to be raised as pets. So essentially amending this exact covenant to allow for those potbelly pigs. This request was granted by the commissioners at that time, but the covenants were never amended by the property owners of the subdivision. Essentially, the reason why is because similar to this situation, the property owner was selling their property. The buyer interested in raising the pigs ultimately did not purchase the property. So the covenants that we have in front of us right now are the ones that were recorded at the time of final plat approval. I think another big thing that happened since the final plat approval of this subdivision, the Helena Valley zoning regulations were adopted, including the rural residential mixed use zone, which it covers this area. The zoning district has a 10-acre minimum lot size. And while that means that these lots are smaller than 10 acres, they were established prior to zoning. They're considered legally non-conforming lots, and they can stay, obviously, 5 acres in size, but they cannot be divided any smaller than that. The zoning district, this rural residential mixed-use zoning district, also allows for agricultural use by right, which includes raising livestock. I want to note that when we received this request, I did reach out to the MSU Extension Office, the Ag and Natural Resource Officer. I was finally able to reach her by phone. And based on our conversation, she indicated that in her professional opinion, a full prohibition on livestock may not be necessary in this general area. But she said it's best to keep in mind the size of the property and the state of the pasture if property owners are considering livestock of any sort. You should have in front of you the subdivision restrictions at the end of the staff report. And I want to call your attention to language about halfway down on that first page that states these restrictive covenants are revocable or alterable only with the consent of the Board of County Commissioners of Lewis and Clark County. I want to be clear, this is not an amended plat. This is simply a request by one of the property owners to amend the covenants. This means that if this request is granted, the property owners the applicant, I should say, will be the one in charge of amending the covenants, having all parties signed, and to have those recorded. So that will be their responsibility. The applicant has been made aware of this fact and understands that. I will say one last thing. So the property owners, I should say, currently live in Arkansas. They were not able to be here today. They indicated that they were hoping to have someone here to speak on their behalf, but I don't know if that's the case. We did provide notice to the property owners within the subdivision. A few things. We put a legal notice in the Helena IR about this amendment. We sent letters of this public hearing to all of the property owners within the subdivision. And I also posted a sign as well on the property. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Chair Payne.
Thank you, Rachel. Andy?
Just to clarify, you did mention it there, but I just want to reemphasize the point that if we were to approve this request, it's still incumbent upon the applicant to get the signature sign off of all of the other property owners. So they would all have to agree before the covenant could be changed. Is that essentially correct?
Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen, that's correct.
And so if one decides not to participate, then the issue's kind of moot at that point.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
No, I think that was the same question I would have had.
Okay. I have a question for our learned counsel. How much trouble are we going to get in like 10 years down the road because we went along with this?
Madam Chair and Commissioners, unfortunately, I don't have my crystal ball with me today. I do wish that I did, or I hope should have brought that.
You should.
So I think, as always, when a board makes a decision, you have a presentation, you discuss your reasons for making a decision, you articulate that on the record, and that establishes not only the rationale and the basis for your decision, but if a similar but slightly different situation comes before you, you'll be able to make the distinctions if necessary.
Thank you, Nico. I have concerns, and you and I talked about them yesterday in my office about, well, this is fine. It's my understanding this buyer wants to bring one horse. Well, what if they sell it to somebody who wants to bring 25 horses or 25 pigs? Or, I mean, there's, but these covenants are, or these are subdivision restrictions, which are not, these are not the same as covenants, are they, Nico?
Chair Payne and Commissioners, so as part of the Lewis and Clark County subdivision process, some of the conditions of approval that the county puts on an applicant is to file restrictive covenants. So these, I guess I'm going to say maybe from a staff perspective, they're looking at it as a subdivision restriction. In a legal sense, they are restrictive covenants. And I think that's why, as part of the plan before the board today, you have to have all of the property owners also signing off on this. Again, these can be amended with the approval of the board, but then to effectuate the actual filing of the covenant change, each affected property owner is going to have to sign off on it. So Chair Payne, as you mentioned, your concern about other usage is the current property owners will have the ability to make that decision for themselves. And just like any other groups of people under restrictive covenants, they go ahead and make decisions based upon what they want to use that, or how they want to use that property at that time. And if subsequent purchasers are stuck with the decisions of prior property owners, that's kind of how it goes at times. So I don't know if I'm answering your question.
My concern has to do with this subdivision is only 4 lots. However, this subdivision is, whatever happens on those will impact the lots surrounding it that are not part of this subdivision. That may be counting on no livestock on those 4 lots. And since the covenants, we all agree, are limited to the parties signing on to the covenants. However, this is a subdivision restriction. Does it control, can people, so the Big Valley subdivision, and this is lot 125, I assume this is part of a bigger subdivision. Possibly, probably, don't know.
Chair Payne, I'm going to take my best stab and then,
How about
Okay,
it go?
Rachel?
Oh boy, here we go. So I think there's been continuous development in that area. And I think it started with your one giant lot, and it was called the Big Lot Valley subdivision. And there have been prior subdivisions within that subdivision. So let's say we have, for example, 5 larger lots. Those five larger lots have continued to be development, but they're all considered under the Big Lot Valley subdivision. But we see, what is it, lot 25, 125 in this one. So in terms of keeping everything straight in a recording sense, it all continues under that same original subdivision title.
And so my question is, this is not a covenant. This is an agreement to change the subdivision restrictions. The subdivision is lot 125 of the Big Valley subdivision. And I am supportive of this action. However, I just want to make sure we have a discussion about possible ramifications. Have we thought this over carefully? What if somebody wants to bring in a herd of goats or elephants Mr. Andy, do you have some words
sure.
of wisdom?
I don't know.
Based on your 18 years of experience?
I don't know about wisdom, Chair Payne, but I do have a couple of comments that may make us feel a little better, maybe not. But so one is that if we were to approve this, then all the lots have to sign off. Or that's one thing. So they all have to agree. And then all four have to agree. Yes, they all have to sign off on it. So all of the neighbors have to agree. And then if when they design, if they do put in a new covenant or propose new language, that could be potentially restrictive of certain numbers, I suppose. They could design that how they like. And other than that, future landowners, if they are not happy about a particular covenant, can go through the same process. So they could come and say, you know what, I'll use your example, we have this herd of cows and that doesn't fit on 5 acres, so it just doesn't work. So we want to change this covenant to be more appropriate. And then I would also point to extension, which I am not going to claim, and I doubt that, well, you're closer to someone who has some experience in this world, but I'm not going to claim to be a professional about what can or can't happen from a livestock perspective there. So extension says that might be okay to have a horse or two or whatever they see is appropriate there, which I'll leave it up to those more professionals. And then I want to confirm as well that our existing Part 2 zoning, and granted it is 10 acres or greater, is the rule, but these pre-existing lots are grandfathered in, I'll use that term. But that zoning does allow for livestock at some level on those lots. So that if this were to change, it would be more in line with our existing Part 2 zoning that's already in place. So those are my justifications through the process of allowing these folks to at least pursue this if they'd like with their neighbors. If their neighbors don't agree, then so be it. If they do, then they'll have a change there, which is kind of self-determination amongst the group from my perspective. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, Tom, do you want to add to this discussion?
Just a question. How would you recommend if we were to do this? What would be the wording of the motion?
Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe, if you do support the removal of the covenant, which is the request, then I would say a motion to authorize the property owners in the amended plat of Lot 125 Big Valley subdivision to remove condition number 13 in the subdivision restrictions. If that is, something that you are interested in doing. To the point that Commissioner Hunthausen made, yes, this covenant, as they do call it in the subdivision restrictions, can be removed based on that authorization. If they want to add language or add restrictions themselves, they can record private covenants to do that, unless they do want to come in and request language be added. The subdivision restrictions that we're looking at right now simply state These restrictive covenants and conditions are designed to provide, the following restrictive covenants are revocable or alterable only with the consent of the Board of County Commissioners. If they want to do something privately to restrict 1 horse or 2 horse or whatever it might be, they can do that themselves. I will say our zoning regulations that were adopted after the time that this came into effect can regulate land uses. Right now, we don't have a restriction on animal units, but if it becomes an issue, that's always something that can be contemplated in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for this nice discussion of this proposal. I think we've covered it. Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, we need a motion, please.
Chair Payne, I would move that the county commission approve the elimination of covenant number 13 relative to livestock, keeping of livestock.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that this commission approve the amendment of subdivision restrictions for amended plat lot 125, Big Valley, as described by Rachel Ward. I've gotten awfully used to Jessica Makis being up there. Rachel Ward, is there any further comment from the commission? Seeing none, all in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. It has been unanimously approved to, boy, that was not well stated, was it? It's been unanimously, let's see, this request to amend is unanimously approved by the Lewis and Clark County Commission. There. Okay. We did that. We asked for a vote. Okay. Now, is there, fourth item on our agenda is public comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda above. Seeing none, I adjourn this meeting.